All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee each and every time. So some of you may be asking, well, Psycho, what are we doing today? Well, we're going to continue in our second season of Jukebox from Hell. That's right, Jukebox from Hell, episode 12 for everybody that's keeping score. We are going to be delving into the late 1978 album from Black Oak, which of course used to be Black Oak, Arkansas. I'd rather be sailing. Well, let me pull this down here for a second so I can show you. This one here, signed by Jim Dandy, yes, good old Jim Dandy Mangrum, and Ricky Lee Reynolds. Now, Ricky's not on this album, and I'm not really exactly complaining, but he ended up signing this before I could say, please, because he wasn't on there, obviously. So here's the front, and here's the back, and then for record collector standpoint, like I said before, you're going to be looking at a good old Capricorn sleeve, and a little bit more of a cream colored on your stock. Now this one here I managed to pick up many years ago. Cutout bin hole right there. Now I should say before I get into this that I've been a Black Oak fan, well, at least probably since the 90s. That's when I really tripped on them. Okay, so let's get going on this, shall we? So like I said, this here came out in late 1978. It would be the last album on Capricorn Records for Black Oak. Now, the decision to actually get shortened to Black Oak, supposedly Jim Dandy maybe is, but to reduce the southernness, which I'm like, to me that was their big mistake, out of all honesty. We'll talk about that more after all of this. But your particular players on this album, of course I brought up Jim Dandy, he sings on vocals. Now, several of the members that are in this lineup here, and also were on the previous album on Capricorn, Race with the Devil, alright? So you've got here Jimmy Soybean Henderson. Now, of course, he originally was in Grey Ghost, which is Ruby Starr in Grey Ghost. It was a band that she started, I think if I remember correctly, around 1974 to about 1977, and then there was different incarnations of things that Ruby was with. But Jimmy Soybean Henderson, he was on, if I remember correctly, the last couple Atco label era albums, Ain't Life Grand and Live Mother, and then MCA, and then here to Capricorn. The rest of them here, though, you've got Jack Holder on guitar, Joel Williams on drums, and Greg Redding on keys. They all were from Grey Ghost. And then you've got on bass Andy Tanis. That's right, who did bass, acoustic guitar, and vocals. You also have session musicians Roy Yeager on synths and Deke Richards on piano, who actually has a long history going back to the mid-1960s and a little bit of Motown association too. So let's go in track by track on this, shall we? So we start off with track one. Oh, by the way, the research for today, through Black Oak's official website and wiki and AllMusic. We've got combined sources on this. So track one, I'll Take Care of You. It's okay, but nothing fantastic to start this one off. Track two, You Keep Me Waiting. It's okay, it's a soft rock number. Track three, which ended up being the single off of this album, Ride With Me. We kick it up a little bit with some nice harmonies and a little sax work too. Track four, Made of Stone. Starts off sounding like early Black Oak, Arkansas, and I could have seen this as the single because it did have the flavor of BOA, and this one was written by Jack Holder and Greg Redding. Yeah, I think maybe they would have done a little better with Made of Stone as the single, and maybe just a different flip. Number five, You Can Count on Me. For the first part of this song, thought I was listening to an Isaac Hayes or a Barry White tune. I'm not sure here. Were we going for a little disco dandy? Because that's kind of what You Can Count on Me sounds like. We go into track 6, God Bless the Children. It's a sort of pretty song, but it's boring. Track 7, Innocent Eyes. Truth, this is a very beautiful song. Andy Tanis wrote this. I also could have seen this as a single, truthfully. So I think Made of Stone and Innocent Eyes, that could have been the single. Track 8, Daydreams. Nice song, but nothing special here. And then we finish off the album with track 9, Wind in Our Sails. Starts out sounding a little like Crosby, Stills and Nash. Nice harmonies and flute here too. A quiet one to close this out. That's right. So that is I'd Rather Be Sailing. Now, this isn't gospel what I'm telling you here, but afterwards, based on the information that I culled, in late 1978, Capricorn dropped him from the label. They also ended up getting a new guitarist. Oh yes, the legendary Shawn Lane. If you don't know who that is, Google it, go look at YouTube videos. What an incredible guitar player. And for him to cut his teeth from 1978 to 82 with Black Oak, oh, you betcha. I mean, it doesn't keep it southern anymore, but Dandy sure knew how to pick guitar players. So anyways, like I said, he'd be with the band until around 1982. Jim Dandy leaves temporarily around this time, but Ricky Lee comes back, so at least you've got one original member of Black Oak. I heard health issues for Dandy. I also know there was a car crash that pretty much like almost killed him is what I heard. I'm not exactly sure on the timeline of the car crash. There was photos of Black Oak in a recording studio in Springfield, Missouri in 1980. I saw it recently in a Black Oak Facebook fan forum, which I thought was quite interesting. Some of the people I think that were in that photograph, if I remember right, I think were, let's see, Dandy and Shawn Lane. I think Andy Tanis might have been in one of those photos, and a guy by the name of Jerome Thomas. I'm wondering, were they recording, starting a recording of an album? Now, saying that, I found out that there's a bootleg from 1981 called Savage Innocence. I'd love to hear it. I looked up on Discogs. I'm going to have to go a different route because Discogs normally doesn't sell bootlegs, because I really would like to hear that album. And it's supposedly a complete album, or at least it's a complete album of demos, if you will, from the 1980-81 era. The next album that would come out, which basically was a quasi-legal release, is called Rebound. That came out in late 91, early 92 on Gold Wax. And then the next album that you're going to get studio-wise, which is Old and New, Back There and Over Yonder, which returns them back to major label status on Atco in October 2013. And that's pretty much what we've got going on that. Are you a Black Oak, Arkansas fan? This one here, like I said, this is pretty much for completists in my opinion. Although, like I said, I do hear a single. There would have been a single in this one. I think, truthfully, I really wish that there would have been that Capricorn wouldn't have cut him so soon, and we would have got at least one album with the great Shawn Lane on guitar. My God, that thing could have been smoking. But if I remember correctly, Capricorn Records was starting to have their financial woes around 79, so that maybe could have been part of it as well. But are you a Black Oak, Arkansas fan? What's your favorite Black Oak tune, if you will? Just drop it down in the comments. Did you have this? Did you end up getting this when this first came out? All that fun stuff. Any possible future suggestions for Jukebox from Hell, please leave in the comments. And I know that you're asking yourself, and maybe some of you didn't, what is the next episode of Jukebox from Hell? So, I was sent this album, and I'm very happy to get this album. And Anthony Perez is the one who sent me this album. I will be investigating this to a great deal. We are going to go back almost a decade to January 1969, a very popular in the early to mid-60s vocal group with many, many hits, legendary status. But in January 1969, they attempted a concept album. We are talking about 4 seasons with genuine imitation, Life Gazette. That's right. We will be looking at that on the next episode of Jukebox from Hell. And until next time, take care, God bless, rock on, always powered by coffee each and every time. That is the eternal promise from Psycho to you. And like and subscribe, please, if you haven't done so yet. We're very close to that 1,000 subscriber count, which to me would be very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. And I respect and I love you guys. Take care.